Imagine a chance encounter that shatters a broken heart only to rebuild it in ways you never saw coming. To dive into this roller coaster of mistaken identities, hidden secrets, and undeniable passion that proves fate has a twisted sense of humor. If you're hooked already, subscribe now to unlock more gripping tales, exclusive twists, and stories that keep you up all night. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button today. In the bustling heart of New York City, where the skyline pierced the heavens like jagged dreams, Elena Thompson sat alone in her lavish hotel suite, her white gown pulling around her like a forgotten snowdrift, the fabric once symbolizing eternal love now a cruel reminder of shattered vows, her eyes swollen from hours of silent tears that traced salty paths down her porcelain cheeks. The room dimly lit by the soft glow of a bedside lamp casting long shadows that danced mockingly on the walls, the air thick with the scent of wilting roses from a bouquet she'd impulsively bought to mimic what her wedding day should have been. But that was 6 months ago when Mark, her husband of 5 years, had confessed his affair with his secretary, leaving her in a whirlwind of divorce papers and empty promises, her heart a fractured mosaic she feared could never be mended. And tonight, on what would have been their anniversary, she had checked into this opulent hotel to escape the ghosts of their shared apartment, donning the wedding dress she'd never returned as a masochistic ritual to mourn the life she'd lost, her fingers trembling as she clutched a glass of cheap champagne, bubbles fizzing like her fading hopes, when suddenly the door clicked open with a soft beep, startling her from her reverie, and in walked a tall stranger, his dark hair tousled from the evening wind, his sharp suit rumpled as if he'd just escaped a tedious gala downstairs, his eyes widening in surprise as he froze in the doorway. "Oh God, I'm so sorry, I must have the wrong room," he stammered, his voice a deep baritone that cut through the silence like a warm knife. But Elena, in her vulnerable state, didn't scream or demand he leave. Instead, she burst into fresh tears, the intrusion feeling like the universe's final joke on her misery. And the stranger, whose name was Alex Rivera, a successful architect in town for a conference, hesitated, his instinct to flee battling the innate compassion that had always been his undoing. "Hey, are you okay? I didn't mean to barge in like these. My key card must be glitched. I thought this was 1408, but clearly it's not," he said, stepping tentatively inside to hand her a tissue from the nightstand, his presence unexpectedly soothing in the sterile luxury of the room. And as Elena looked up through blurred vision, she saw not an intruder but a kind face etched with genuine concern, his green eyes holding a depth that made her forget for a moment the pain gnawing at her soul. "I'm fine, just leave, please," she whispered, but her voice cracked, betraying her, and Alex, sensing the raw anguish, sat on the edge of the bed uninvited. "Look, I know this is weird, but you don't look fine. You wanna talk about it?" "I'm a stranger, after all, no judgments here," he offered with a lopsided smile that somehow pierced her defenses, and against her better judgment, Elena found herself pouring out her story, the words tumbling like a dam breaking, recounting the fairy tale romance with Mark that turned into a nightmare of betrayal, the divorce that left her financially stable but emotionally bankrupt, how she'd come here to wallow in self-pity, dressed as the bride she once was. And Alex listened intently, nodding at the right moments, sharing bits of his own life to make her feel less alone. A recent breakup with his fiancée copywriter who left him for his best friend, the irony not lost on either of them. And as the night deepened, their conversation flowed from heartache to laughter, sharing absurd anecdotes about failed relationships, like how Mark once forgot their anniversary to watch a football game, or how Alex's ex hated his habit of sketching buildings on napkins during dates, the room transforming from a tomb of sorrow to a sanctuary of shared vulnerability, the champagne forgotten as they ordered room service pizzas with extra cheese, because why not indulge in comfort food when the world falls apart? And Elena felt a spark ignite in her chest, a warmth she thought extinguished forever. But little did she know, this was just the beginning of a series of twists that would upend her life in ways she could never anticipate, for as they talked into the wee hours, Alex revealed he was no ordinary architect but the heir to a vast real estate empire, his conference a cover for scouting properties in the city, and in a moment of whimsy, He suggested they crash the hotel's midnight ballroom event. "Come on, you're already dressed for a party, let's make this night memorable for good reasons," he urged, and Elena, buoyed by the alcohol and his infectious energy, agreed, slipping her arm through his as they descended the grand staircase, the chandeliers sparkling like stars above them, the music swelling in a waltz that pulled them onto the dance floor, where Alex's hand on her waist felt electric, their bodies moving in sync as if they'd danced 1,000 times before, whispers of compliments making her blush. "You look stunning, like a vision from a dream," he murmured, and for the first time in months, Elena felt alive, desired, her heartbreak receding like a distant storm. But as the clock struck 1, a familiar voice shattered the illusion. Mark, her ex-husband, emerged from the crowd with his new girlfriend on his arm, his eyes locking onto Elena in shock. "Elena, what are you doing here in that dress?" he demanded, his face flushing with a mix of guilt and anger, and Elena's world tilted, the twist hitting her like a freight train, for Mark was attending the same gala, his company sponsoring the event, and now here he was, confronted by the ghost of his past. But Alex, sensing the tension, stepped protectively in front. "She's with me, but you got a problem with that?" he said coolly, his architect's precision turning to a steely resolve, and Mark backed down, muttering apologies before slinking away, leaving Elena trembling but empowered, her hand in Alex's as they left the ballroom, returning to her room where the air crackled with unspoken tension, their laughter turning to lingering gazes, and in a bold move, Elena leaned in, their lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of redemption and new beginnings, the night unfolding in passionate embraces that healed wounds she didn't know were there. But dawn brought another twist. Alex's phone buzzed incessantly with calls from his family, reminding him of an arranged engagement back home, a business merger disguised as marriage that he'd been dodging. "I have to tell you something," he confessed over breakfast in bed, the sheets tangled around them. "I'm not as free as I seem. My parents expect me to marry someone I've never met, for the sake of the company," and Elena's heart sank, the fairy tale fracturing once more, feeling like history repeating itself. But she steeled herself. "Then go, Alexa, don't let me be another complication," she said, though her voice wavered, and he left with promises to return, the door closing behind him like a chapter ending, leaving Elena to pack her things and check out, vowing to move on. But weeks turned into months, and Alex's calls dwindled, his life pulling him back into the corporate web, until one rainy afternoon, Elena received a package at her door, a blueprint of a dream home, sketched with notes in Alex's handwriting. "This is for USA if you'll have me," and enclosed was a plane ticket to Paris, where he awaited, having broken free from his family's expectations by forging his own path, selling his shares to start a boutique firm, the twist revealing his true commitment. But Elena hesitated, her trust scarred, deciding to fly but with guards up, arriving at the Eiffel Tower where Alex knelt with a ring, not a diamond but a simple band engraved with second chances, and as she said yes, the obvious ending unfolded in a whirlwind wedding overlooking the Seine. But wait, the story twisted again when Mark reappeared, not as a villain but reformed, begging forgiveness at their reception, revealing his girlfriend had left him, mirroring Elena's pain, and in a moment of grace, Elena forgave him, closing that chapter forever. But the ultimate twist came years later, as Elena and Alex built their life together, discovering that the hotel mix-up wasn't accidental. Alex had bribed the front desk for the wrong keycard after spotting her in the lobby earlier that evening. Heartbroken and beautiful, his mistake a calculated risk to meet the woman who would change his life, confessing it on their 10th anniversary. "I couldn't let fate decide, I had to make my own," he said, and Elena laughed, her heart full, realizing that sometimes the most obvious endings hide the most extraordinary journeys, their love story a testament to serendipity engineered by bold hearts, weaving through betrayals, reunions, and revelations that span continents and emotions, proving that from the ashes of divorce rises the phoenix of true love, unbreakable and eternal, their family growing with 2 children who heard the tale as a bedtime story. The white gown now framed on the wall as a symbol not of loss but of triumph, and as they aged gracefully, hand in hand, Elena often reflected on that fateful night, Grateful for the stranger who entered not by mistake but by destiny's clever design, the end as obvious as the sun rising, yet laced with twists that made the path unforgettable.